Hello, my third grade friends. We are here together today to work on Math Module 3, Lesson 11. So in front of you today, you will need a pencil as always. I have a couple of little slides that I want to look at just to review kind of similar things we went over the other day. And of course, your Lesson 11 problem set. And if you've looked at Lesson 11 yet, you know that we have lots of word problems today that we're practicing, and we get to cross out one. We're going to cross out number 5. So you definitely need a highlighter. Okay, so if you don't already have a highlighter with you in your materials today, then go ahead and grab a highlighter. And when you are ready, you can unpause and we'll get to work. Okay, so for our lesson objective today, it says that we're going to interpret, which means to basically figure out the unknown in multiplication and division to model and solve problems. So our I can statement today says I can find the unknown in multiplication and division problems. So do you remember, I believe it was 2 math lessons ago, we were finding the unknown in our multiplication and division sentences. So we could have done like, let's see, 4 times 5 equals n. And then we solved for n, right? So n equals, and we could count by 4s, 5 times 5, 4 times, 5, 10, 15, 20. So n equals 20, right? So we did that with multiplication and division, and we worked on word problems as well. So we're kind of just doing more of the same with our lesson for today. So I'll talk about that in a minute. I just wanted to do a teeny tiny bit of a review on something that we kind of touched base with briefly the other day. So we're going to decompose these multiplication sentences. So if I'm looking, I have 8 times 8. Do you remember our silly rhyme for 8 times 8? I ate and I ate and I got sick on the floor. 8 times 8 is 64. Good. But that's not what we're doing. So I want to decompose this 8 times 8. So it equals 5 plus blank times 8. So if you remember, we took this digit right there, and I'm going to put that little caret under it to decompose it, which means to break it up. So this one is a 5, because it already gave me the 5. So 5 plus what? So really, you're going to say to yourself, 5 plus what? And this is kind of scrunched. So if I just kind of rewrite that up there, so 8 times 8 up there. And they told me it was that 5 there. So this side is going to be a 5. So 5 plus what? I'm not even showing it because it's too high. 5 plus what equals 8? 5 plus 3 equals 8. Okay? So then if I look here, 5 plus 3 times 8, because there's that other times 8 right there. So 5 plus 3 times 8. Okay? And then we're going to write out that complete equation. So blank times 8 plus blank times 8. So this would be 5 times 8 plus, what goes there? 3 times 8. So 5 times 8 plus 3 times 8. So this would be like 5 rows of 8, and then 3 rows of 8. So this would be using like the distributive property if I broke up my array. Okay. I know that 5 times 8 is 40, and 3 times 8, 8, 16, 24 is 24. And then what do I do with those two parts? I'm going to add them together, right? So 40 plus 24. Can you do the mental math for that one? It equals 64. And we said our rhyme for that one too, right? I ate and I ate and I got sick on the floor. 8 times 8 is 64. Good. So 8 times 8 equals 64. All right. So I just wanted to do just a touch of review with that again to hit that up. We'll just kind of look at that from time to time to see if that's coming into a little bit more focus for us. Okay. And now I want to bump right into our problem set for today since we're working hard on tape diagrams. Okay. Just to put us into our mind frame of our word problems together, let's do the first one all together. And then if you're feeling good about doing a little bit of independent work, I'm going to set you free, okay? All right. So if we look at the first one, we know, first of all, that this is it's RDWW, right? That's a word problem. Okay, so let's do our read. So Mr. Santor divides 32 students into 8 equal groups for a field trip. Draw a tape diagram and label the number of students in each group as n. Write an equation and solve for n. All right, so I read it and I'm going to go back through it. I'm going to kind of pull it apart. So Mr. Santor divides 32 students. I'm going to just kind of bracket that so I can separate it. Divides is a clue word because that's already telling me what I'm going to do, right? So he divides 32 students. What would 32 represent? The total, right? So I'm going to circle 32. Divides 32 students into 8 equal groups. Is that important for me to put parentheses around? Absolutely, 8 equal groups for a field trip. And I could even, if I want to highlight equal groups, because equal groups, again, is a clue that I'm going to be multiplying or dividing. Okay, so 8 equal groups for a field trip. Draw a tape diagram. So it's telling me that it wants a tape diagram. And label the number of students in each group as n. Write an equation and solve for n. So it's telling me I need a tape diagram, and I need to label the unknown as n. All right, so we did our read. What comes next? Draw, right? We're going to draw a tape diagram because that's what it told us. And what do we know? So I always start by asking myself, do I know the total? Do we know the total? What is it? Go ahead and put the total right there. 32, good. 32 students into 8 equal groups. So is there 8 in each group? Is there 8 groups? 8 groups, right? 8 equal groups. So if I want 8 groups, how many lines do I make? 7, good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And once I made my 7 lines, I just want to go back and count and make sure that I actually have 8 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm good. Are you good too? And again, if you need to pause it as we're working our way through these, then go ahead and feel free. All right, so I know that 32 is my total and I have 8 groups. Now I could keep putting 1 in each group until I find my total. What else could I do? I could get my number sentence set up and then see if I can solve it that way. So what kind of a number sentence am I writing? I'm dividing, right? So when I divide, what number always comes first? The total. So 32 divided by, what else do we know? 32 divided by 8. We made those 8 groups. And it equals, and it says we want to use a letter for the unknown, equals n. And then n equals. Okay, so again, I could put one circle in each group to find it that way. Or if I feel like I'm good at counting by my 8s, I could count by 8s till I get to 32. So let's try that. 8, 16, 24, 32. Stop. So how many in each group? 4. If you are not good at counting by 8s yet, would you do that strategy? Probably not, right? You want to use something that you are familiar with and comfortable with. And if you are not good at counting by your 8s yet, then you would want to put one circle in each group or a tally in each group and keep going back and doing that over and over again until you get to 32. Okay? So what does n equal? It equals 4. So we did our draw. We wrote our number sentence. And the last one is to write a word sentence. So I go to my question. Tape diagram and label the number of students in each group as n. So we want to know how many students are in each group. So there, with a capital T, there are 4 students in each group. Spelling should be correct. 1, because I'm writing it and you're working with me, right? Also, it's right. It's coming right from the question. Okay. And again, check your sentence. We always, as third graders, want to make sure that we have our sentences starting with a capital letter and that we're ending with a period or whatever our punctuation may be. Okay, so I feel like we have done this enough that I want you to try some of these on your own. Maybe you are like ready to go. Maybe you're a little bit leery. If you are feeling super confident, go ahead and work. Let me just give you a heads up on the back so that we could cross out number 5. And I want you to look at number 6. Okay, so I'm just going to read this to you just so if you're going to work on your own, you have a little heads up. So the fruit seller packs 72 oranges into bags of 8. He sells all the oranges at $4 a bag. How much money did he receive? What do you notice for this one? There's 3 numbers, right? So if there's more than 2 numbers, what does that possibly signal to us? That it might be a 2-step problem. Good. So just a little heads up to be looking at that one, okay? And if you are just off to the races and you're off on your own with this, make sure when you finish that you come back to me, okay? Make sure you're following the RDWW process for everything. And even so, go ahead if you're good to go. If you are still a little bit leery, pause it, do one, watch my video to check it, then pause it and do the next one and so on. You can do one by one, but we really need to start making sure that we're working independently to be solving these. So we really get our math brains thinking on our own, okay? So go ahead and pause it and work on number 2, please. All right, so I'm going to check out number 2 to see how we did. So we know that this is RDWW. Tara buys 6 packs of printer paper. Did you put parentheses around that? Good. Each pack costs $8. Did you see a clue word there? Each, right? So I'm going to highlight that. That tells me I'm going to multiply or divide. Draw a tape diagram. Label the total amount she spends as M. So we don't know the total. So we're looking for the total amount. So that is telling me that I think that we're going to be multiplying. Do you agree? Okay. And then we want to write an equation and solve for M. All right. I think I set myself up good. How did you do with your read? Okay. So for my draw, I'm going to draw a tape diagram just like they said. Okay. 6 packs of printer paper. Each pack costs $8. So 6 packs. So I want 6 groups, so 5 lines. Each pack of paper costs $8. So I'm going to put 8 in each one. You could put 8 circles. That would be fine if you did that. If you had 8 groups with 6, your picture is flip-flop, so you definitely want 6 groups of 8. All right, so I'm looking for the total, and I want to write a number sentence. So I had 6 groups, so I'm going to do 6 times 8. There's 8 in each group equals. Okay, I could count by 6s, but I want to really practice my 8s, so I'm going to count by 8 6 times. Ready? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. 48. And it's dollars. So I want that dollar sign in front of the 48. So $48. Oopsie. I take that back. I'm supposed to use a letter. It equals M. Bad screw out. So, and if you did the same thing too, because sometimes we just get going and we're just so excited about getting our equation, that's fine. But they wanted us to use M. So then M equals $48. There we go. Luckily for you, you're probably using a pencil, so you don't have to scribble on your paper. But it equals $48. So I did my draw. I wrote my number sentence. So we want to draw a tape diagram and label to find the total amount she spends. So, and it's Tara. So Tara with a capital T. Tara spends $48. Okay, capital letter and period. How did you do? Did you do okay? Did you forget the M like me, or did you get it? Good if you got it, and if you missed it, that's okay, because I did too. Okay? All right, let's take a look and see how you did with number 3. Again, it's RDWW. Mr. Reed spends $24 on coffee beans. All right, so $24. on coffee beans. And I want to know how many kilograms of coffee beans does he buy? Draw a tape diagram and label the total amount of coffee beans he buys as C. I see a clue word, total. Okay. Write an equation and solve for C. Okay. So he spends $24 on coffee beans. Okay. How many kilograms of coffee beans does he buy? Draw a tape diagram and label the total amount of coffee beans he buys as C. So here's my other piece of information here, that it's $8 for 1 kilogram of coffee beans, and he spends $24 on the coffee beans. So 24 would be the total amount because that's how much he spends. So I'm going to do my tape diagram. And I know that he's spending $24 total. Okay. And I know that it's $8 for 1 kilogram of coffee beans. Okay. So would there be 8 groups or would there be 8 in each group? 8 in each group, right? So I'm going to make a group and I'm going to put 8 in the group. And I can actually, I know it's dollars, so I can put a dollar sign in front of it. So I know the total. I knew that there was 8 in each group. So what kind of a number sentence would I be writing? Division, right? So $24 divided by $8 equals, and I'm not going to be tricked this time. We need to use our letter, right? So it equals C. And then C equals, and I'll finish my tape diagram after. We could do it now. You could do 8 circles in each group and keep making groups of 8 until you get to 24. I want to solve my number sentence, and that's one strategy I can use, and then I'll go back and finish my tape diagram. So I want to count by 8 till I get to 24. Will you count with me? 8, 16, 24. So it equals 3. So C equals 3. So then how many groups do I need? 3. So I already have 1 group. So 1 more line gives me 2 more groups. Okay. So, and remember, it would be 3 kilograms, right? Because it's $8 equals 1 kilogram of coffee. So C equals 3 kilograms of coffee. So if I look for, I did my read, my draw, my write, and I'm going to write a word sentence. So I look to my question, how many kilograms of coffee beans does he buy? So he, with a capital H, buys 3 kilograms of coffee beans. And then I can check off that W. What do you think? How'd you do? Okay. Again, if your picture, if maybe you had 8 groups of 3 instead, that's flip-flop. So to represent the picture, we want to make sure that we have 3 groups with $8 in each one. But the good thing is that even if your picture is wrong, you should still get the correct answer, right? But we do want to, when we're working through this as our practice together, we want to make sure that we have the correct picture. Alrighty, go ahead and turn it over. If you haven't done number 4 yet, go ahead and do number 4. And if you've done it and you're checking with me, then stay with me. All right, so we know that number 4 is RDWW. Okay, so we have 8 boys equally share 4 packs of baseball cards. So there's 8 boys. I'm going to bracket, put parentheses around those 8 boys by themselves, because right away when I'm thinking of those 8 boys, I'm thinking that's my 8 groups. Do you agree? Okay, so they equally share 4 packs of baseball cards. Each pack contains 10 cards. How many cards does each boy get? You know what? When I was showing you earlier that number 6 was a 2-step problem because it had 3 numbers, what did we notice about number 4? It also has 3 numbers, right? So we have 8 boys, 4 packs of baseball cards, and each pack contains 10 cards. So I didn't even see that when I was just doing a quick skim of it because 8 was in word form. But yeah, number 4 is definitely a 2-step problem as well. All right, so let's see what we can do here. So I need to finish with my reads. There's 8 boys. They equally share 4 packs of baseball cards. Each pack contains 10 cards. How many cards does each boy get? All right, so let me look here. 8 boys, they equally share 4 packs of baseball cards, and each pack contains 10 cards. I want to deal with the cards first. So let me just kind of put like and just to kind of chunk that information in there. I want to deal with a card. So there's 4 packs of cards, and each pack contains 10 cards. Are you seeing a picture in your mind there? So 4 packs, and each pack contains 10 cards. So I think I'm going to do a tape diagram. And how many groups would be in it? 4, right? Because there's 4 packs of baseball cards. So for 4 groups, I'm going to do 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then what would go in each one? 10, right? Okay. And we're trying to find that total. So to find that, I would take my 4 times what? Times 10 equals, okay, and I'm going to put a C for cards. And then C equals, what is 4 times 10? 40. Good. Okay. Are we done now? So remember when we worked with 2-step problems before, we can kind of check off the parts that we did. We dealt with 4 packs of cards, and we dealt with each pack contains 10 cards, but there is 8 boys. So 8 boys are equally sharing these 40 cards. Okay, so there's 40 cards that 8 boys are equally sharing. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do another tape diagram. And now I know that my new total is what? 40. Okay. And there's 8 boys. So what would I do in my tape diagram? 8 groups, right? So 7 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And different ways that I could do it. I could set up my number sentence, or I could just put 1 in each group until I get to 40. And I think I'm just going to do that. Okay, so let's do that. So let's keep putting 1 in each group until we get to 40. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. How many do I have in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in each group. Did we multiply or divide there? We divided because we already knew the total, right? So we've got 40, and we divided by 8 because there was 8 boys, equals, okay, I'm going to do C again. So equals C because it's cards, and then C equals 5. They each got 5 cards. So I did my R, I did my D, I did my W, and for my word sentence, it says how many cards does each boy get? So each boy gets 5 cards, period. And you know what? I was just thinking I probably shouldn't label that C again because I already had a C over there. So I'm going to make this one B, I think, for baseball cards. Sorry about that. I was just thinking that I should definitely change my label because we shouldn't have C because they represent different things. What do we think? So 2-step word problems are kind of a different beast, right? They can definitely be hard, but I think the more we practice them and get our minds used to thinking in that kind of a way, that it gets easier and easier. Okay, so we'll just keep practicing. We've got one more to do, and we knew ahead of time that number 6 was a 2-step problem. So let's see how we did. All right, so the fruit seller packs 72 oranges into bags of 8. 72 oranges, I think, is the total, right? Into bags of 8 each. There's a clue word, each. He sells the oranges at $4 a bag. How much money did he receive? All right. So, yep, we know this is RDWW. We did our read, so now let's draw. Tape diagram. Alrighty. So 72 oranges into bags of 8 each. So could I scoop it and put 72? Yes, because there are 72 oranges. And there's 8 oranges in each bag. So I'm going to make a group and put 8 in it. Now for this one, I want to use a strategy where I'm going to write my number sentence ahead of time to figure out how many groups there are. And I just realized I put 78, not 72. Whew, 72. All right, so for my number sentence, I'm going to do 72 divided by 8 equals, I don't want to put an O. I'm actually going to put, let's do F for fruit. Okay, and then we'll do F equals. All right, so I'm going to count by 8 till I get to 72. Ready? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. What comes next? 48, 56, 64, 72. Okay, so that equals 9. So we'd have 9 groups. So if I want 9 groups, I want 8 lines. So I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me make sure I have 9 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. I'm going to put 8 in each one. Okay, F equals 9. So I used 72 and I used 8 for bags of 8. Am I done? He sells the oranges at $4 a bag. So he has 9 bags of oranges and he sells them for $4 a bag. What would I do with these two numbers? I would multiply them, right? Because there's 9 bags of oranges and there's $4 a bag. If I want to do another tape diagram, if that's helpful, I definitely could. So I could do another tape diagram with 9 groups, and then I would put 4 in each one to show that there's 9 bags of $4 a bag. But I'm going to do 9 times $4 equals, and then I'm going to do M, because it wants to know how much money did he receive, and then M equals. And let's count by 4s 9 times. Ready? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. So M equals $36. That was a lot, right? So we did our D, we did our W, and what's left? Writing a word sentence. So how much money did he receive? He received $36, period. Ooh, that was a lot today, boys and girls. I'm hoping that those single step word problems are getting easier and easier for us. The 2-step problems, if you are getting those, fantastic. And if you are hitting a frustration level, don't be frustrated, because we'll definitely have more practice with those. Again, I think it just takes like seeing them to get our brains to think about math problems in a different way, maybe, and to think about different ways that we could solve it. Okay. So I know it's a lot today, and we'll just keep practicing and practicing. But you really did a super job today. Okay. I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.